made this drawing once, expressing this a little bit in the relation to, let's say, the territorial shape of this part of the Netherlands. Say this is the south wing, and you are here in this place, at this moment, in the middle of it. And this could be framed as a network city. Everything can be in any place, at any moment. That is a little bit different from Amsterdam. Amsterdam is still a kind of strong, centralized city, where of course in the center itself there are different potentials, but the centrality of the city is more dominant than the dispersion of the functions in the region. So you can say there is a new urban scale. Infrastructure now is part of the urban instead of the inter-urban space. The network is a closed city instead of only connecting. And centrality is completely new. Let's do two examples. This is the map of Amsterdam, center of Amsterdam. Schiphol Airport, and in fact you could say this is the city of Amsterdam. Here is, you could say, the touristical center, the traditional center, where Central Station is. Central Station is from the 19th century, built in the 19th century. It is there because of the simple fact that this territory of the city in medieval part was there at the border of the IJ, the water. The city was orientated to the water because of the fact that all the Dutch cities were orientated to the water because of the trade. Interesting is that in the 19th century, this city still was orientated on that side, but there came this new central station. So you could say the city of Amsterdam changed from identity, from a city that was orientated to the water and the trade, to a city that was orientated to the European network of rail. Interesting. So in fact, the shape of the city stayed the same, but the orientation changed. In the 20th century, of course, the airport industry came up. So that meant that in the 90s, Major and Alderman made a very firm decision and said we should turn our back side to our front. In fact, you could say that the fact that Schiphol Airport is a deep economic motor of the northern part of the Randstad makes it necessary to make a new central station in the south of the city. South X is that called. It's the banking district of the Netherlands. It's under construction now. Very complicated project, very big difficulties. I won't talk about that. But what I want to show you is that the orientation of cities is something deep in the structure of it, has a very important historical impact, and it's very complicated to change that. Interesting is that the recent developments, this is the same city of Amsterdam, airport, are now upscaling up to the new town, Almere, which is over here in New Poland. And that this again shifts the way of thinking. There are now plans to extend the metro line through the IJ to this new town. That makes that this, let's say, might be, in the coming 20 or 30 years, a kind of new metropolitan territory, a very big recreational lake, which in fact redestinates the orientation of Amsterdam up to the water. So you see what a fantastic job we have to do. We can in fact and do in fact reorientate our view on what cities are and how they behave. And that's on a quite big level a strategy of making things and thinking about orientation. Okay, and then we come back to the South Wing, where we are now, where of course this process might be too far from the moment of interlinking two cities. The city of Hague, the city of Rotterdam, the city of Delft. There is now only one track here, and in the coming years they're going to extend roads, they're going to extend metro systems, they're going to in fact make from those two cities one. It won't say that the Hague will stop to be there, or the Rotterdam will stop to be there, but it's a transition from separate, only standalone cities to a urban field in which the cities can grow. And we are in the middle of this process. And that is the story. Okay, I think I should stop here. So you might, because I can go on for That's it. What is interesting is, either you are architect or you are planner. By designing, you realize orientation and identity. And in fact, you can do that on the level of a building or a street or a complete, let's say, neighborhood or a city or a metropolis. So what will be the effect of the fact that the Londoners have decided to build this new Olympic in the south of London? Will that shift the mental map of the people of London to the map of London itself? Of course, now it's only a kind of congestion thing, but what is the effect? Is it like Barcelona, where in fact in Barcelona, if you go there, one of the most beautiful European cities, the city has changed its complete and full identity to the water. It's a fantastic project in my opinion. You can see it and you can't even rethink what it was before, because there was no orientation. And in fact, that's the same process as the Docklands, that's the same, perhaps, the same process, I don't know what's coming out with the Olympic in London. So thank you very much.